Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today, we're going to be talking about alien intelligence, but not like, the aliens you see in the movies.
Right.
It's alien intelligence in a very different way. And we're going to be exploring this topic with the help of Stephen Wolfram, who you may know, as the creator of Wolfram Alpha.
Mhm.
And he has some very interesting ideas about what alien intelligence could look like.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how he approaches this whole concept of intelligence. He's not just looking at,
Yeah.
the traditional way of thinking about intelligent life, like,
Yeah.
you know, little green men or whatever.
Right.
He's suggesting we broaden our view.
Yeah.
Think about intelligence as a function of complexity, no matter where that complexity comes from.
Instead of looking out into the cosmos, we
Right.
should maybe be looking
Yeah.
here on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where his principle of computational equivalence comes in, which essentially says that even simple programs
Yeah.
can produce really complex behavior, the kind of behavior we often associate with intelligence.
Okay, so, and now you're going to have to help me out here because you're saying that I just heard could be exhibiting a type of intelligence.
No, it's a radical idea for sure. But think about it like this. Imagine a weather pattern, just swirling around. From our perspective, it's just wind and clouds doing their thing. But at its core, it's a system governed by a set of rules, generating really complex and unpredictable behavior. Wolfram argues that this kind of complexity is computationally equivalent
Yeah.
to the complexity we see in the human brain.
He's saying that our brains aren't necessarily special. It's just
Yeah.
one way of many.
That complexity can be expressed.
That's the core of it, yeah. He
Yeah.
actually uses this great analogy, comparing the swirling patterns you might see on another planet to the radio signals we broadcast here on Earth. And we automatically think, oh, those radio signals, those are intelligent because we made them.
Right.
But Wolfram argues that both are ultimately just physics playing out,
Right.
both computationally equivalent in their complexity.
Okay, so my mind is officially blown right now. But okay, so we're saying this alien intelligence is all around us. How do we even begin to understand it? It's like we're trying to read a book in a language we've never seen before.
But yeah, that's where science comes in. You can think of science as our universal translator. It helps us decode the behavior of these complex systems and create narratives that we can understand. And once we have those narratives, technology steps in
Yeah.
to harness that knowledge,
Well-
to basically corral that alien intelligence and use it for our own purposes.
So science helps us read the book, and technology helps us write new chapters.
I like that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Right now, our technology is only scratching the surface
Yeah.
of what these complex systems can really do. It's like
Yeah.
we've got this incredibly powerful racehorse, but we're only using it to pull a tiny little cart.
Can you give me a more concrete example?
Sure. Imagine if we could tap into the principles of fluid dynamics to build a whole new type of computer, one that processes information using the flow of liquids.
Wow.
Or what if we could capture the energy of an electrical storm to charge our devices? Yeah. It sounds like science fiction, but it gives you a glimpse of what could be possible when we really start to understand
All right.
and speak the language of this alien intelligence.
Okay, now, this is really starting to get interesting for me, but you mentioned something called rulial space earlier. Where does that fit into all of this?
So to understand ruliad space, you got to kind of understand this concept of the ruliad first.
I'm actually...
Like the ultimate blueprint of reality, a map that contains every possible universe, including our own, each with its own set of physics. So our perception of reality, even the laws of physics as we know them, are just our particular way of experiencing this ruliad.
Whoa. Hold on. Are you saying that there could be an infinite number of universes out there, each with their own,
Yeah.
set of rules?
That's kind of the mind-bending implication here. It's
Yeah.
like, think about each point in rulial space as a frequency on a radio dial. Each frequency represents a different reality, a different set of rules for how things work. And just like you can tune your radio to different stations,
Right.
different intelligences could be experiencing the ruliad
Yeah.
based on their unique position within rulial space.
I think I need a minute to process this. So we're not just talking about alien life forms. We're talking about alien realities, alien universes even. But if each intelligence is tuned to a different frequency, how could we ever hope to connect with them?
That is the challenge, isn't it? Bridging that gap in rulial space,
Yeah.
finding a way to communicate with intelligences that operate under completely different rules than our own.
So how do we do that? Are we
Yeah.
talking about building some kind of interdimensional portal?
Well, maybe not a physical portal, but we actually already have the tools we need, science and technology.
Okay.
Science acts as our translator, helping us to decipher the language of these alien systems. And technology gives us the means to sense and measure
Yeah.
and ultimately interact with them.
So we'll have to pick this up in our next part. This is
Yeah.
a lot to think about.
Yep.
But I'm really excited to keep going. So we'll see everybody in part 2.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's like we're learning a new language and building a communication device at the same time.
That's a great analogy. But where do we even start? If we're talking about like exploring this vast rulial space, are we like sending probes into other dimensions?
Not quite other dimensions, but you're getting the idea. Like every time we write a new program, it's like launching a tiny expedition into rulial space.
Huh.
Each program, even a simple one, can unlock these new insights into the nature of computation. And by extension, the nature of reality itself.
So it's like we're explorers charting a new territory. But if
Yeah.
this rulial space is so vast, won't we inevitably run into things that are just beyond our comprehension? I mean, some of this stuff is already making my head spin.
That's the exciting part, though. Exploring rulial space means encountering things that challenge our understanding, systems with behaviors that seem totally alien to us. But these encounters are where the real breakthroughs happen. It's like stumbling upon a lost civilization with technology so advanced it seems like magic.
I can see how that would be both exhilarating and terrifying. But wouldn't that knowledge be dangerous? What if we uncover something we weren't meant to understand?
That's a question every explorer has to grapple with, right? There's always a risk.
Right.
But the potential rewards are huge. Think about it. What if, by studying these alien systems, we unlock new technologies, new ways of thinking that could solve some of humanity's biggest problems?
So instead of looking for new materials to build faster computers, we could discover entirely new computational paradigms hidden within these alien systems.
Exactly. Imagine harnessing the power of, say, Rule 30.
Rule 30.
It's this cellular automaton that generates these seemingly random patterns. But it has incredible potential for cryptography.
Okay.
We could revolutionize how we secure information, create unbreakable codes, even protect our privacy in ways we haven't even imagined yet.
Okay, I'm starting to see the potential here. It's like cracking the code of some super advanced civilization and using their tech to leapfrog our own progress. But how do we actually go about doing this? Do we just start writing random programs and see what happens?
There's definitely an element of experimentation involved, but it's not totally random. Wolfram suggests starting with simple computational systems like cellular automata and Turing machines.
Okay.
These systems are surprisingly powerful. They can generate incredible complexity from just a few basic rules.
So we start with the basic building blocks of computation. Then what? Just sit back and watch the show.
It's more than just watching. It's about careful observation, analysis, and interpretation. We need to develop tools and techniques to analyze the output of these computational experiments, identify patterns, extract meaning from what might initially seem like chaos. It's like learning to read the language of the universe itself.
This all sounds amazing, but let's be real for a second. You need like a PhD in computer science to even start thinking about this stuff, right?
Actually, that's the best part. This isn't limited to some elite group of scientists. Anyone with a curious mind and a computer can get involved.
Really?
You don't need a billion-dollar research lab or a team of astrophysicists. You can start experimenting with these ideas right now at home.
That's incredible. So where would someone even begin? What's the first step if you want to launch your own personal rulial space program?
I'd recommend starting with Wolfram Alpha. It's a fantastic tool for exploring the world of computation and getting a feel for how simple rules can lead to mind-blowing complexity. From there, you can delve deeper into Wolfram language and start experimenting with your own computational creations.
This is seriously inspiring. It's like a whole new universe of possibilities has opened up. But I have to be honest, I'm still wrapping my head around this idea of alien intelligence existing within these computational systems. It just seems so different from how we normally think about intelligence.
It's definitely a shift in perspective. We tend to think intelligence requires a physical brain, a body, a sense of self. But what if those are just limitations imposed by our specific way of experiencing the ruliad?
You mean maybe these computational systems are intelligent in ways we can't even fathom? Like they perceive the universe in a way that's totally alien to our human senses?
That's a fascinating question, and one worth exploring. And who knows, maybe as we go deeper into this exploration, we'll find that our own intelligence is more computational than we realize. Maybe the line between human and alien is blurrier than we think.
Okay. That's definitely something to ponder. This whole conversation is making me question everything I thought I knew about intelligence, the universe, even reality itself.
That's the beauty of exploring the ruliad, isn't it? It forces us to challenge our assumptions, expand our horizons, and embrace the unknown.
It's interesting, isn't it? We started this whole deep dive talking about alien intelligence, and now I'm kind of wondering if the most alien intelligence might be the one that we create ourselves through computation.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The very tools that we're using to explore the ruliad, these computational systems and languages, could be the key to unlocking a whole new level of intelligence, something that goes beyond our human limits.
You mentioned computational language earlier and how it could help us to tame the ruliad. It's almost like we need to learn to speak the language of these alien intelligences, whether they're out there in the cosmos or right here in our computers.
That's a great way to put it. And Wolfram thinks we're already on that path, with tools like the Wolfram language. It's designed to express really complex computational ideas. It bridges that gap between our human minds and this vast computational landscape we've been exploring.
So instead of sending out radio signals, hoping that someone out there picks them up, we're crafting a language that allows us to communicate with reality itself.
Exactly. Just imagine asking the universe a question directly, using code as your language. We could use computational language to translate our intentions, our questions, our goals into a form that these systems can understand. It's like having a universal translator for communicating with beings from other dimensions, beings that operate under completely different rules.
That's a mind-blowing idea. But even if we could communicate with these intelligences, how can we be sure they're friendly? What if they're hostile or just indifferent? I mean, haven't we seen enough sci-fi movies to know how this could go wrong?
It's a valid concern. But think about it. The very act of exploring the ruliad forces us to confront our limited perspective. Maybe hostility as we understand it is just a human thing, not a universal truth. What if these intelligences are operating on a level beyond our ideas of good and evil, friend or foe?
So we might be projecting our own fears onto something that we don't understand.
It's definitely a possibility. And even if they do,
I guess knowledge is power, even if it's knowledge of something that completely changes our understanding of reality.
exactly. And think about the potential benefits if we can learn to collaborate with these intelligences. Imagine combining human creativity and ingenuity with the raw computational power of these systems. We could solve problems that have been with us forever: disease, poverty, climate change. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
It's a hopeful vision, a future where humans and these other intelligences work together to create a better world for everyone.
It's a future worth working towards. And it all starts with taking that first step, launching our own rulial space programs, and being brave enough to explore the unknown.
This has been an incredible journey. We started by talking about searching for alien life out in space, and now we're exploring the infinite possibilities within computation. It seems like the real adventure isn't about sending spaceships to other planets, but about exploring the uncharted territories of the mind with computation as our guide.
And who knows what we'll find on that journey. Maybe the most amazing alien intelligence is closer than we think.
That's an awesome thought to end on. So to everyone listening out there, I encourage you to fire up your computers and see what you can discover. Until next time, keep diving deep.